We begin this first half with an improvisation by Glenn Buer, and then next we go right into Mr. Michael Matthews' work, Peso Ancestral. So please, tell me, what was the inspiration of this piece, and what was the poem?
The poem is by an Argentine poet by the name of Alfonsino Storni, whose work I've said before. Beautiful poet. If you don't know her, I highly recommend her work. It's a very sad poem, and she had a very sad life. So what I've tried to do with this is really capture some of that very, very deep-seated melancholy that really suffuses this entire poem. And I think the singer's doing a really nice job with it. And I would also just mention in passing, since I don't think it got in the program, thanks to the Manitoba Arts Council for commissioning funds for this piece.
Once you told me my father never wept. Once you told me his father never wept. The men of my line have never wept. They were made of steel. As you were saying this, you cried a tear that dropped into my mouth. I have never drunk more a poison than I did from that little cup. Vulnerable woman, poor and comprehending woman, when I tasted it, I knew the pain of centuries. Oh, my soul cannot endure all of its burden.
Tu
Next work you're going to hear is by John Crigliano, Fantasia on an Ostinato, performed by David Morose. Now, John, this is also a test piece that you wrote. It's for the Van Cliburn competition. Why don't you tell us what you were trying to achieve and what you were trying to get the performers to do?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to have two test pieces on the same program. Alexina's was a wonderful solution, I thought, bringing some joy and fun into the competition. Mine was a different solution. I didn't want to do something technically too difficult because they play all that Liszt and Chopin and Rachmaninoff. And I thought what I wanted to test was the performer's imagination. So this is called Fantasia on an Ostinato. An ostinato is a repeated figure, and the repeated figure in this case is Beethoven's Seventh Symphony, the second movement. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Most of you know that. Right? Well, you'll hear it in all sorts of guises as it's a fantasy. And I wanted to get that repeated figure because it's one of the few times that Beethoven was a quasi-minimalist. He went on for 4.5 minutes just playing that same ostinato and adding one theme above it, another theme above it, another theme above it. It's like the Ravel Bolero or the Pachelbel Canon, early precursors of the minimalism that we'll hear at the end of the concert with Terry Riley. So what I did was I built the outer parts of the piece and I composed them completely. And then in the central section, the pianist starts playing an oscillated two figures, and I put a repeat sign in the front of it and in the back of it and a straight line. And you don't know how many times to repeat that. And the left hand has perhaps 3-note figure, again with a straight line. And then at various moments, both of them change, one of them changes, another one changes, and they build to a big climax of the piece, which is the climax which is then notated. So what I really did was I provided the outside sides of a piece and had the performers fill in the middle with the given notes but not the given durations. And in fact, in the Cliburn semifinals, the piece lasted between 7 and 20 minutes. So we may be in for 2 hours. I don't really know. I have no idea what's going to happen. And that's part of the fun of this piece, is that the performer is very much involved in the creative process of building an arch. How many times do you repeat something before you change it? How many times do you repeat it before you change it? It's minimalism, but the performer is in charge this time of the repetitions. So that's what this piece is all about.